Good morning. Welcome to another amazing Monday. Hopefully it's going well for everyone. If not, maybe I can brighten your day. So today I want to talk a little bit about enjoying the ride, and the ride being life, because it has tosses and turns. It's got all sorts of things that we're not always anticipating, and we can't always see a ton ahead. Whereas on different parts of the ride, like if you are a fan of roller coasters, you know that there's a moment where you're kind of going up and going up and going. Can't really see anything else. If you kind of looked at it before going on, you more or less know what it looks like. There's going to be ups, downs, twists, turns. You might go upside down. So you have an idea of what it is. And it's the same thing with life. So when you're little, you kind of get this understanding that you'll grow up, you'll get a job, you'll go to school, not always in that order. You'll get a house someday, or you'll find someplace else to live, you'll have a car, you'll pay bills, you might find somebody to spend the rest of your life with, you might not, you might have kids, you might not, and there's all of this stuff that is kind of along the way that most people already more or less know that they're going to do. So it's the same with roller coasters. When you look at it, you kind of get an idea of more or less what the ride's going to look like. But when you actually get on, especially if you like the big roller coasters with the drops, there's this moment, and it's usually at the very beginning, where you're just going up. You can't really see what's right in front of you. You can't tell. And I've been on some before that you get to the very top, and then it's going to drop you down, and you expect it to fall all the way down, and then, the ride keeps going. But it drops just enough to get your stomach to lurch, but then it goes kind of evens out. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is that you don't always know what's coming next at this part. So you're kind of sitting there, you know more or less that you're going to probably come down at some point, that there will be all the twists and turns that you saw, but you don't know what's immediately next. And there's a little bit of anticipation, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of, okay, what's going to happen? If you're like me, I practically give myself an anxiety attack going, oh my gosh, what did I do this? This is going to be terrible. It's going to be worse than I thought. And it's never going to be that bad. I've gone on the same roller coaster more than once, and I have that same feeling every time. Maybe that's just the way I ride roller coasters. So, and then once you get over that hill, you can kind of see more or less, you can see the whole roller coaster again for a split second. And then it starts. All of the speed, it goes ups, downs, twists, turns, it rolls all the way around, and the ride has begun. And you have your moments that you like or you don't like. Some people don't like climbing that roller coaster. Some people don't like the waiting to get all the way up there. They would rather start up there, or they think it's too high or too long to get up there, because all you're hearing as it's going up is the click, 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 click. Some people don't like that part. Some people don't like the drop. Some people don't like when they turn upside down. They're afraid they're going to get stuck. Some people don't like all of these different little things that might be on there. Everybody's preferences are different. Some people won't even get on the ride. They'll go to have another ride. But here's the thing. Life is very much like a roller coaster. Whether or not you decide to get on that roller coaster. Some people decide to go to college. Some people decide to go to trade school. Some people decide to start their career. Some people decide to take a break. Some people decide to do something completely different than they studied. Some people get married, some people don't. Some people have kids, some people get divorced. There's all of these little things that people do, and not everybody goes through all of it. The whole idea behind this topic is enjoy wherever you're at in your journey, in your roller coaster, whatever part you're on. Maybe it's the part you don't like. Maybe it's the part that gives you a little anxiety, even though you're really excited for what comes next. Enjoy it, because a lot of the times it only happens once. And even if it happens again, like if you're getting remarried, it still feels different. It's a little different because you kind of know where it goes, and there's different feelings coming up. If you're getting in a relationship again, it's kind of the same concept. You're okay, well, this is what the part that we're in. But the experience feels different. Like if you've ever gone on a roller coaster again, you can get on different parts. So that, there's the whole roller coaster, there's all of the different seats. I've gotten on again, but in a different seat, and it feels a little different. So like if you're at the very front, or you're at the very back, or you're in the middle, or anywhere in between, every time you go on can feel a little different. So even if you feel like you're in the same moment or you're going through the same ride again, enjoy it. So I've been told this so many times throughout my life. When I was young and going through college, enjoy it. You only get to do it once. You only get to live through it once. And I might decide to go back to school, but it won't be the same. It'll be a different experience. And I didn't a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had fun. I met a lot of great people. I made a lot of good friendships and enjoyed all of the activities that I did, but I don't think I ever really just let go and enjoy it, because I mean, college is still work. You're going to classes, you're doing your job, part-time job, full-time job, whatever, however you decide to do that. There's all of this other stuff that you're doing that can be stressful. And sometimes I look back and I'm thinking, why was I so afraid to enjoy myself? It probably was a lot less stressful than what I'm going through now, or what I might go through later, or whatever it is I'm thinking in that moment. And we don't always enjoy it because it's a difficult moment. And so one thing that when you get into a relationship is that there's going to be disagreements and arguments, and everybody argues and disagrees differently. So I'm a very passionate person, so I have a tendency to yell and cry a lot. And it's not always fair to the person I'm arguing with, but I always try to don't ignore the tears. I'm trying to get through this problem, whatever it is. And I freak people out, are you okay? Did it really bother you? And it's I'm just overly emotional. It's a thing. But I really hate arguing. I don't like getting upset with somebody else, especially when it's well, maybe I could have lived with that. Maybe it could have been this. Maybe it could have been that. But I don't enjoy it. But I've learned to kind of, in a way, enjoy it. Not like arguing, but knowing that we went through this, and in the end it makes relationships stronger. So if you're arguing with your siblings, which I used to do a lot, me and one of my sisters, everyone says that we're a lot alike. Neither of us can see it very well, but I think the fact that we argued a lot probably said we were. But we used to argue all the time, and it drove my mom crazy, and it worried her because she was afraid that we wouldn't get along as adults, or we would be those estranged sisters who never talked. But we get along now. I call her every now and then just because I need her help, or I want her opinion, or I just want to talk to her. And even though I probably didn't enjoy those moments where we're arguing a lot, they helped us resolve a lot of things between us. Knowing that we can go to these moments where we're just flat out yelling at each other, whether or not it's about anything of significance, because trust me, we were those siblings that had that "she's touching me" argument multiple times. Knowing that we can get that angry at each other and frustrated, but we're still here and we have a great relationship, and she's still my little sister and I love her to death, helps make that relationship a little bit stronger. And it's the same thing with my husband. We're both very headstrong people, and we both, unlike some younger relationships, if you met your partner when you were a little bit younger and you never actually had your own place, separate places, the way you learn to do things. So most people, when they live either by themselves or with somebody else, will establish their way of doing things. And usually it comes from how you were raised. So, well, my parents always kept the dishes on this side of the sink or that side of the sink, or always put it away this way and stacked it up this way. And that's what we're used to, because that's what we grew up with. And when we start to live away from them, we establish our own parameters. So if it's I hate washing dishes, big piles of dishes. So when I was at my apartment, I kind of got into the habit of, I would eat, and if I wasn't drop dead exhausted, I would go to the sink immediately, wash all the dishes, put them up, the end. And that's kind of all of these little things that I established. I didn't like clutter, so I tried to get into the habit of either making one stack of paper that I either had to go through or had to keep, and try to go through it and toss what I didn't need and keep it somewhat organized. It wasn't very, but somewhat. And kind of the way I display things and the way I did things, living on my own, kind of established how I got things done. Now, I lived like that for a few months before me and my husband met, before we started dating, and eventually moved in together. he had his own way of doing things, and he had been doing his way a lot longer than I had, because I'd been living on my own apartment, very far away from my family, by myself, no roommates, for maybe 6 months before we met, and then another 6 months of kind of off and on, like between places for a while. He had been living on his own for at least 5 years, because that's how long he's been at his company, and he got a house soon after that, or was renting or something. The point is, he was on his own a lot longer than I was, so he established how he gets things done. And this room upsets me to this day, but it's still a really funny story. So when we originally moved in together, he was always talking about, he owns a duplex, and one side is a 3-bed, 2-bath, and one side is a 2-bed, 1-bath. We lived on the 2-bed, 1-bath side, because for a while it was just him, and that was more than enough for him. And so when I moved in, it was still enough for both of us, so we stayed on this side. I didn't know where the second bed was. So when you walk in, there's a living room, there's a kitchen, there's a hallway, there's a bedroom, bathroom, and then a door at the end of the hall. I thought that was the garage door, because kind of the way the house is laid out, the garage is on that side. And so that's just kind of was my automatic assumption, because we never opened the door, we never went into that room. There was nothing like, it wasn't like, oh, we'll come look at this other room, or this is what the bed looks like. He never showed me the room. I never went looking for that room. I figured I had just misheard, or there was some sort of discrepancy, or I just let it go. But one day, I think I asked him, what's up with that room? And he told me, no, that's not a garage door, that's the bedroom. There is no door to the garage. So curiosity kicks in. I walk over, I open the door. We called it the box room, because that's all it had in it. Or at least when you open the door and you look at it, that looks like all that's in there. Boxes. Piles and piles and piles of boxes. Now, this isn't a small room either. Once we got it cleaned up and set up as our new guest room, which is now the cat room, it fits a full and a twin with about another full space in between them. It's a very big room. But that was really frustrating to me, and right at the beginning of our relationship, it was probably the hardest when we moved in together to kind of figure out, and I didn't enjoy that part, because it felt like I'd moved into someone else's space, and I didn't know how to merge how we'd learned to live together. So he sleeps in really late. I don't like to sleep in very late. He likes to prefer to stay up and then sleep till like 1 in the afternoon, and I like to get up like the latest 8. And I'd gotten used to it in my apartment. The window that was in my bedroom was covered by a lighter curtain, or there was one blanket curtain that my parents got me, because they were like, you need a little bit more sleep. And then there was a door that went to the balcony there, and I didn't have a curtain on that one. I had the flat shutter blinds, and so there was still a lot of light coming in. So when a lot of light came into my room, which is usually right around when sun comes up, light starts filtering through, I got up, because there was a lot of light in my room. Cats are playing. And that's how I got up. However, this is our bedroom. There's one window. Those are blackout curtains. You can't see how much sunlight is coming through those when you open them. You close them, and it can feel like the same time of day the entire day. So that was some getting used to. And it was probably the most frustrating part, because we were trying to figure out how to make it work, how to get set up together. And I look back, and I probably could have enjoyed that more and done a little bit more with all of it and done what I've learned to do now. So being at home, we're married, we've got all of this stuff, and we decided we were going to stay here a little bit longer than we'd originally planned, which means that this has to be home for both of us, not just one of us. So I went out, looked at the house, and said, okay, these are the things I'd like to get done. And we've started remodeling and changing and cleaning and going through all of this stuff and cleaning out junk and doing all of it. And I've learned that I need to enjoy it. So I've started doing that. I've started, okay, what's on my task today, and getting excited about things, about painting, about fixing hinges, about taking the cats outside and cleaning up the yard, and all of this stuff that used to be really frustrating to me. Because here's the thing about life. You only have one of it. And something that my husband's always saying is, you can always make back money. You can spend $1 and you can make $1. You cannot spend time and make time back. Once it's spent, it's gone. The age I am in this exact moment, I will not be in the next moment, because it will have passed and I will have gotten older. And that's how it works. We are all continuously getting older. We can't go back to when we were a little bit younger and change things or do it again. We only have this one time. So instead of wasting it the way I did the first time, being frustrated and angry and figuring things out and hating it, I've learned that I need to just enjoy it. Maybe this isn't where I stay. Maybe, we end up being able to move sooner, or we go to the other side, or something, or different things happen. But I will never have this moment again. So I need to learn to enjoy it. I need to learn to enjoy waking up when I can, and I go and I work on the kitchen and I work on all of the stuff. I'm doing the blog, I'm taking care of the cats, and I'm enjoying it this time around. And it doesn't feel the same as before, but it's still the only time I'm going to go through it like this, so I need to enjoy it. And it's the same for a lot of things. I didn't really always enjoy being single, but I kind of look back and think I probably could have enjoyed it a little more. I could have done more things, just me, without taking anyone else into consideration because it was just me, or used my time to work more hours than I could just because I was able to, or all of these things that I hadn't really thought about because I was too busy being frustrated because I was single and I wanted to be married and I wanted to meet somebody, and all of the things that a lot of people have thought throughout their lives, whether it's them being upset because their relationship didn't work out, or he's not proposing, or whatever it is that you're going through. We need to learn to enjoy it, because it's the only time we go through that. And I've mentioned it before that sometimes I wish that we'd gotten engaged a little later, only because I felt like we rushed through the dating part, and as soon as we got engaged, it was wedding planning and figuring things out and budgeting and putting money aside and doing all of the stuff that we kind of stopped for a while. We used to go to the parks, and we used to go to try all of these restaurants and do all of this stuff and do the things and all of the things in San Antonio that we could do in the early dating phase. That kind of started to stop for a while as we were figuring out, how are we going to pay for this, what are we going to do, and all of the next step stuff. And I don't regret my decision, but it would have been nice to have that go on a little longer, or enjoy it a little bit more, because that was the only time we were going to go through that. And little did we know that was the last time we'd go on our first date or the second date. And this was the person. But we kind of rushed through that because we were anticipating the next step and not quite living in that one step. So my point of all of this ramble is enjoy it. Wherever you're at in your life, whether it's getting into college, getting out of college, getting into a relationship, getting out of a relationship, figuring out how to get through your first job, second job, wherever part of the roller coaster you're on, whether or not it's your favorite part or your least favorite part, find a way to enjoy it. Find a way to make that moment your happy moment, because it won't come around again. And sometimes it helps to get past some things. So somebody mentions the other day, one of the topics I should talk about was not letting small inconveniences or big inconveniences in your day ruin the rest of it. And part of it is, don't see it as a problem. See it as, okay, well, this is an obstacle that gets to make me a little bit better, whether that's learning that, well, now I got to figure out how I'm going to kickstart a new battery, or figure out how I'm going to replace this battery when I'm in a parking garage in Louisiana and my car won't start because the battery won't start, and I have to figure out how to get this done been there. You go ask the parking garage guy if he's got a jump starter. But if you let little things like that stop you from enjoying the rest of your day, you're not going to get that day back. You're not going to get any of those experiences back the way they were. And you'll have colored it with that frustration and anger, when we all need to learn how to just take a deep breath, let it go. Hopefully this helped some of you and gave you a little bit more insight into what you could be doing to enjoy life a little bit more. Thanks for listening.